Well, hello everyone. Delighted to welcome you to our latest webinar and hope you and your families are safe and well. My name is Steve Brockway and I'm Chief Research Officer at Maru Matchbox UK. And today I'll be sharing with you some new insights on what the experience has been like for new digital users who have pivoted from traditional to online channels. I'll be showing you how to both operationally engage and also how to make meaningful connections with your new digital customers. Just in terms of keeping it simple, we've put everyone on to mute automatically, but there will be an opportunity for questions at the end. So please use the chat window to pose any questions and we can get back to you if we don't have time to answer all of them. So firstly, we wanted to set the scene by shedding some light on what has happened to digital channels and experiences in the past 3 months. Now, one thing the pandemic has done is to accelerate existing digital trends. Just look at this graph from the Office for National Statistics, showing digital sales as a percentage of total retail over the last 15 years. Whilst the trend to digital has been relentless, the last 3 months have been completely unprecedented, growing from around 20% of total retail to well over 30% of total retail sales. So there's been a huge step change with people pivoting to digital. And data from our Maru Blue UK panel shows the pivot to digital has been seen across many different sectors, from banking to grocery to gaming and even streaming. This has been driven by a surge in first-time users to digital channels. For example, 18% of our UK sample used online banking for the first time over lockdown, which is the left-hand side of that chart I'm showing you. And all sectors have seen step changes in digital demand from first-time users. Whilst the highest proportions of those switching to digital have been aged under 35, the trend is still visible across all age groups. And this increase in digital volumes has been reflected across our digital feedback programs that we run. Here are just 2 examples where we've seen a huge uplift for those giving feedback compared to the same period last year. You can see last year's period in blue and this year's period in yellow, a huge change in numbers. Now, an important point here, where we published research at the start of the pandemic, is that people want to be heard now more than ever. So it's a mistake to stop listening and responding to your customers at this time. Customers and consumers will build stronger relationships with the brands that understand, empathize, and engage during these difficult times. And they'll also remember those that don't. So we've witnessed an unprecedented increase in digital volumes across all sectors, driven to a large extent by first-time users. However, our aggregated CX data across lots of different customer experience programs tells us these new users are having a far from satisfactory experience, with over 1/3 dissatisfied with their digital experience, which is over twice as high compared to the same period last year. So we're seeing an increasingly worsening experience for these huge numbers of first-time users. So what is causing this poor experience? Again, looking across our customer experience data, we can see that twice as many first-time users require high effort to achieve the reason for their visit. Now, we published research last year that proves customer effort better explains on-the-day digital experiences when compared to broader brand or loyalty measures. Basically, if your customer effort is high, then your on-the-day customer experience is likely to be poor. Clearly, this is a huge challenge for brands with digital channels who have seen new customers, but many have had a suboptimal experience, driving lower satisfaction scores, impacting both on-the-day conversion and future loyalty. So what we're going to do now is take you through how our powerful platform and unique capabilities can provide insight on how to improve first-time user experiences for digital channels. Our philosophy is to engage consumers in a way that reflects how they make decisions and is deeply rooted in the behavioural science principles of System 1, which is how people feel, as well as traditional attitudinal System 2 research, what people think. We operate at the intersection of behaviour and emotion through the Feel, Behave, Think framework shown. Now, this reveals the full picture of how we make decisions. You need to understand not just what customers think, but how they really feel to better predict their future behaviour and provide better outcomes for customers. So let's now look at how we drive an improved digital experience for first-time users. To do this, we've looked at a UK representative sample of around 1,000 across 4 key sectors to get a really comprehensive view. So first, what we did is use a choice-based exercise to establish the 3 most important factors for first-time users versus regular users across popular digital sectors, such as grocery, multi-product banking and streaming. So we looked across all 4. Choice-based exercises are ideal for this as they require people to decide what is most and least important, better reflecting how we actually make decisions. Now, one of the greatest differences was the distinction between mission achievement for first-time users compared to overall experience for regular users, shown there in the red and yellow. Now, a similar pattern was observed across all sectors, indicating this is a strong, consistent pattern. So what does this tell us? This tells us that first-time users don't seek or desire a special brand experience. They just want to achieve their mission clearly and easily. Regular users, however, have emotionally moved on from the basic steps of mission achievement and are wanting to receive and feel more value and emotional benefits from their overall experience. So what we see here is a picture forming of unique needs for first-time digital users versus regular, indicating that a one-size-fits-all approach is simply not going to cut it for these users. So let's investigate further. So what we've done with this map is look at first-time users and taken the importance of each factor, which is shown on the horizontal axes, the blue axes. If on the right, it's relatively more important, and if on the left, relatively less important. Then we have overlaid this with emotional connection with a good experience. The nearer to the top, the better emotional experience, and towards the bottom, a relatively worse emotional experience. And this gives us our map. So what this gives us is what we call an intersection map of behaviour and emotional experience. We get emotional experience by using one of our System 1 tools called implicit association testing, or IAT. IAT uses reaction time to establish not just if you had a good experience, but the emotional connection of that association, the strength of that association. The higher up on this map, the stronger your implicit emotional response. Now, there are 3 key observations here. Firstly, mission achievement, which you can see there in one of the blue areas, was a key area of importance for first-time users, but it actually falls below average emotional experience. So it's important, but it actually left people feeling emotionally underwhelmed. Secondly, navigation is also a really important area, but was one of the worst performing factors for emotional experience. What this means is that this was one of the most challenging areas for first-time users. And lastly, look at good experience, which is in the middle of the map. This is neither the most important nor an amazing experience for first-time users. But here's where we can start to add new insight. So let's now overlay what regular users felt about these 3 key aspects. So for mission achievement, this has a relatively less important for regular users. You can see it's moved to the left-hand side of the chart, but at the same time, it actually improves in experience. Navigation has a huge improvement in experience amongst regular users, demonstrating that this group are familiar with basic steps to achieve their mission. And lastly, good experience, the good experience factor, which for regular users jumps from the middle of the map to one of the most important factors and a strong association with a positive experience, demonstrating regular users are seeking a more rounded experience over and above the basics. So having used System 1 tools to intersect what is important with emotional experience, we have revealed that first-time users not only have different priorities, but have a completely different emotional experience on these factors. These emotions act as heuristics, strongly influencing your future decisions. So understanding the intersection of experience and importance is key to providing insight that better predicts future behaviour. So let me show you what this means by looking at a different chart. So there you can just see an example there of good experience. So good experience moves right up there to the top right for regular users. A real step change in expectations. So what I'm going to show you now is just two examples where we can demonstrate the importance of our approach. So let me show you how revealing the system one or intuitive emotional response achieves this. Look at this chart on the left. If you only ask what people rationally think, then 90%, whether first time or regular, tell you that overall experience is key. But by unlocking the true emotional or implicit response, shown in the blue bar, we can see that regular visitors have a far stronger emotional need for this area. It's a much higher implicit association. Similarly, for mission achievement, by revealing the implicit response shows you the full picture, that first-time users are more emotionally connected with achieving their mission, with a significantly higher implicit response in the blue bar. Now you can see 63 against 52. So what does this tell us? This tells us if your CX program is only measuring rational scores and metrics, you may well be observing a gap between what people rationally say and actually do, as missing key insights that will better predict future behaviour and provide improved outcomes. So we've taken you through a bit of detail there, so let's just summarise. So having established insights that are driven by people's emotions, we know they will impact future behaviour. First-time users have different needs, requiring a clear process where site owners must map common first-time user missions and identify hotspots to remove barriers. Make it feel easy and seamless. Regular users are familiar with the basic steps. They're basically a given to them. So your strategies need to focus on how to improve their emotional connection to your brand through personalization and making the quick quicker or the big bicker. Make them feel emotionally valued. So on the subject of emotions, we'd now like to share new insight that will help shape your digital strategies by using both your messaging and journeys that they emotionally resonate with users. So what have we done here? So for this, we've used our unique System 1 technique called brand emotion. This engages people in a way that they make decisions. It leverages visual semiotics to reveal what people intuitively associate with a brand or experience. Now, survey participants simply create a collage of 10 images that best represent their feelings and do the same for the ideal or improved experience. It's a data-driven solution with 9,000 images, all linked to specific emotions, validated through over 10 years of prior research. And we use these images to identify the key emotional associations with someone's experience and focus on the top emotions which are statistically significant and we know have not occurred by chance. And we call these top emotions the emotional signature of the experience. So let's look at the emotional signature of the current digital experience for first-time users. This is characterized by being a one-size-fits-all common or commoditized experience, not accounting for their unique needs. Customers are enticed by the prospect of what is on offer, but feel they need skill to achieve the mission and have to make decisions on their own that control the outcome. Experiences that continue down this path will drive a lasting emotional memory of a high-effort, poor experience situation, impacting future behavior and loyalty, even if people eventually achieve their outcome. Brands that understand these emotional needs have a new, wider understanding beyond metrics that reveal the true emotional experience of how to connect with customers. So let's now look at the ideal emotional signature for first-time users, which shows a complete step change is needed. People are already stimulated with a desire for their mission and want to be capable of achieving their goals. However, the key difference is the nurture emotion, which is about caregiving and support to emotionally reassure new users and guide them through the process. This was something that was missing in the current experience. Having completed their first-time mission successfully and linking the experience to positive emotions, customers actually feel a sense of happiness and even elation, which is acting as a heuristic that will strongly influence their brand associations and future behaviour. So what does this mean? What this means is that brands must identify emotional pain points in their new user journeys where people need reassurance or even guidance to achieve desired outcomes. Sometimes this could be signposting, or other times it might be simplifying and removing irrelevant information or images that distract from the main missions. Remember, it's not about new users having to work around you. You must understand and adapt your digital journeys, content, or even processes to emotionally connect with new users. So having completed this simple survey exercise, you now have a clear roadmap to improved emotional outcomes for your new users. In this chart, we can see that consumers and customers will build lasting bonds with digital channels that both understand user needs and create journeys that make meaningful connections through supporting users, leaving an emotional signature that will build brand equity, not erode it. Get a really clear pathway of where you are now and the emotions that you need to achieve. So what are the key takeouts from this? I think the key things to take out are to ensure you deliver on first-time user experiences and make meaningful connections. The first thing we'd say is show you understand user needs. Look through the customer's eyes to understand what new users are wanting to achieve on your site, but use a wider toolkit to reveal what it actually feels like, not just rational metrics. Take action around key new user digital journeys that have emotional hotspots or achievement barriers. You'll be able to see these in your web stats. Test that designs, copy, and processes are aligned with both emotional and rational needs. You need to see the full picture. So having discussed these results, I've taken two sets of quite detailed results. We wanted to just pivot back to the start where we said why this matters. This matters because understanding more holistically how people feel, as well as what they think, enables better decisions and improved outcomes for your digital channels and experiences. Now, typically, most customer experience research is focused on metrics that ask customers what they think. This elicits a rational response, what people think you want to hear, not what they are really feeling and the true influences of their behaviour. You need to have both the metrics and an emotional understanding. And it's why some brands are struggling to improve their customer satisfaction or loyalty measures, as they are missing the full picture. If you simply rely on what people think through stated importance and performance, you are blind to the unique experience needs of first-time users. You'll simply focus on it's all about overall experience and purchase, and you'll miss those nuances between the emotional needs of first-time and regular users. Adding the feel elements enables a more holistic understanding of how new digital users are responding emotionally, which is a better predictor of their behaviour. And it's why we focus on the Feel, Behave, Think framework, engaging customers in the way they make decisions, resulting in improved insight and better outcomes for our clients. So this was a short 20-minute session, so I just want to say thank you very much for your time today. We'll now turn our attention to some of the questions. We have had a few questions in from some of you, but if you'd like to carry on the conversation, then please feel free to reach out to us. My email address is above. I'm more than happy to talk and would love to get your perspective. Just looking down the questions, I can see we've had one question asking how this approach can help improve NPS scores from a digital CX program, as their tracker has had static and sometimes declining scores. Now, this is quite a common occurrence we see. The answer to that is unequivocally yes. One approach we have taken with the client is how to turn your passives into promoters using the NPS terminology. How do you move the dial from people scoring you 7 and 8 to 9 and 10? The only way you can achieve this is to go beyond fixing the basics and understand how to emotionally connect with customers. So for this multi-channel retailer, we were able to demonstrate a clear emotional gap between what we call passives, people who call you 7 and 8, and what you also call promoters, people that score you 9 and 10. So we identified the gap, but also gave a clear roadmap of how to close this gap. And what we found was that sevens and eights had similar rational experiences, but when we looked at the emotional signature, we revealed that customers scoring a 9 or a 10 felt the brand had made a personal connection by understanding their needs, adapting, and helping them achieve their desired outcome. I think in essence, it's about understanding you must have a more holistic understanding, which helps you drive priorities and actions at an operational level. So that was just one example of how we've used this framework to add value to an existing customer experience program, enabling our clients to see the whole picture, enabling you to move from fixing the basics to making emotional connections and understanding and improving the experience. Well, I can see we're up to our 20 minutes. So we've run out of time in this short session, but do feel free to reach out to us and we'll get back to anyone that's asked a question. We'll just finish off by saying thank you very much for joining this webinar from Maru Matchbox, and we hope you and your families stay safe and well in the coming months. Goodbye, everyone.